I'm running back basically the same list. I think in the challenge, is playing 3 Moon, 2 Surgical. I want the 3 Surgical now, with the anticipation of Esper Reanimator being even more popular than I thought here. Canex, 7 months. Thank you for your subscription again. I've been really liking this deck. I think it's really powerful. Had some conversation in the stream starting soon chat about endurance and if you need to play sideboard cards for it. I think it's really difficult too. If elementals specifically is popular, if that deck is like really popular, which it's really not at the moment. It's not, Canister still plays it, but beyond that you don't really see it too often. Then we could of course play Torp Orbs in the sideboard. But the more and more I'm constructing the sideboard, the more it's just kind of apparent. You can choose to beat anything, but you can't choose to beat everything. You can choose to beat elementals. You can choose to beat burn by playing Blossoming Defense. You can choose to beat what I'm doing here today, Esper Reanimator with Surgical Extraction, or you could choose to like really hammer down Tron, but you can't choose to beat all of those decks, I feel. And that's ultimately for the best, right? It's good that this deck is in tier 0 and just literally beats everything, right? Let's keep this hand very strong. So not Blossoming Defense, Blossoming Calm, yeah. Blossoming Calm gains 2 life, counters a burn spell, rebounds, keeps you hexproof for a little bit. And then the rebound is pretty good with the your deck. Yeah, exactly. You have to change the sideboard as like the weeks evolve, but I really think this main deck is going to stay mostly the same. Like if anything changes, it's probably going to be the number of gut shots. Let's go bottom top. What's better, Blossoming or Timely? I think in this deck, Blossoming, just because the rebound plays so nicely with the deck. So we're playing in Scales. Interesting. Pretty sure I'm just mending end of turn. Unless we can Storm. We top 8'd. We lost in the top 8 to Nassif, who won the tournament. I've been really liking the deck, but we top 8'd the challenge. Would I try 16 lands? You could try 16 lands. I think that 17 is the right number. Like I don't think 16 is terrible though. I think you could play 16. But I think 17 is better, and I think that you could play the 4th gut shot, but that would probably only be like when the metagame is really soft to gut shot would I be interested in considering it. And I'm not really of the opinion that that's the dynamic of the modern metagame, that it's just that soft to gut shot. Like a gut shot's good, Ragavan's really popular of course, but I just don't think it's that good. To play 4. So usually I cast Thought Scour before Consider. Maybe I should play Island first. We hit another Phoenix and we hit a Manamorphose. I do want to cast the Manamorphose here, so this way if I find a Demilich... There's also a Demilich. Okay, I missed that. That was a very good hit. Yeah, we can get both. So let's go Bolt these of Oz. I do not care if they regenerate, and I don't care if they don't. Aspiring Spike Jr., hello, my son. What deck did I lose to? Yeah, so I lost to Nassif in the top 8. It was Living End, and then I lost to Burn in the Swiss. And the Burn matchup is kind of weird, where I feel like the Burn matchup would be definitely really bad without Mending. Mending helps a lot, but if you really are that worried about it, then you can of course play Blossoming Calm. I have 12 months, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we don't have enough, so we'll have to draw this Demilich. Oh no, right? Alright, it is turn 3. We're bringing back 2 Demiliches and 2 Arclight Phoenixes. A good way to start the Monday morning, huh? This deck has been... This deck has been surprisingly consistent. I guess I have a Bolt in my hand, so I'll just leave it Consider and Mending in the yard. Yeah, the deck has been surprisingly consistent. Obviously, this is an above average turn 3, but you'll be surprised how often you have just like 2 creatures coming back turn 3, and then every turn after that. Thanks again for the 1 year, Iovine. Ban Urza Saga, huh? Azrael Mung. Thank you for your subscription, buddy. Yeah, exactly. Your deck is just full of cantrips, and it's also like this is maybe a little more subtle. I'm not sure because I don't know. People hate Demilich for some reason, but Demilich just it works with the same cards that Phoenix works with, right? And so in the old Phoenix decks, sometimes you see half your deck without seeing a Phoenix. But now you have 4 Phoenix, 4 Demilich, and so if you don't see a Phoenix, you're likely to see one of these guys. We need a DRC question count. Yeah, maybe. Maybe Mod can set that up. Why no Islet? Islet costs you life. You might be shocked to find out that Islet requires you to pay life to tap it. And like you already have like a kind of soft burn matchup. And also you can you get to loot away extra lands in this deck, right? You get to loot away extra lands. And so it's like I really don't think you want Islet. But people also act like the Islet has no cost, which that's also not the case. Alright, so we're deciding in a very similar way we do against Hammer Time, I think. Although they don't play Sanctifier, they play artifact-based Graveyard Hate, which we have the Wear Tears and the Endings to deal with. So with these 7 cards, and then I think we're going to go -1 Phoenix, -2 Salvaging, -4 Serum Visions. Very similar to how we board against Hammer Time. How's Soulguide Lantern coming from the Dress Down Shadow board against Jeskai, Phoenix, and Reanimator? Well, Surgical is way better against both of those decks. So I think I might be switching to Surgical in the Grixis Dress Down sideboard, where your Living End matchup gets a bit worse, but you have other sideboard cards for Living End. And then Surgical is also kind of good against the Croxamirs, too, because that's like the main thing you want Lantern for. Although you probably don't want to like overboard, right? What would I replace Surgical with? Would Extirpate work? Well, if you look at the lands, I have no I have no black sources. So yeah. No, I mean I think Surgical is important. Just like Surgical in the sideboard is to beat the Esper Reanimator deck. You could play Leyline of the Void instead, and that would actually give you more game against Living End, but it wouldn't be as good against Reanimator. But like if Living End is really popular, then maybe we switch to Leyline of the Void. And I've always liked Leyline out of these decks because no one ever expects them. For whatever reason, they think that this deck just can never play. This is actually a pretty good Leyline deck, though, because you get to loot extra copies away. You can even Manamorphose into them. But I tend to like Leyline and Phoenix, or I did in the past. So that's also definitely an option. Would I bring in Surgical against Rhinos? I like to bring in 1 Surgical, probably. Just like your chances of being able to Surgical other Footfalls is like kind of high, so I think you're pretty happy to draw at least 1 copy. Thinking that Grixis District shall play 2 Surgical over the two Lanterns, yeah. That is what I'm thinking. I'll keep this hand on the draw against Scales. I've mentioned this a few times, but I really think you're supposed to not. If you have Manamorphose, like your hand is a lot is like a hand you usually want to try to keep. Manamorphose is the best card of the deck. You ordered your Liches? Awesome. I did too. I ordered a set of Liches. I'm pretty excited to get to play this deck in paper maybe one day. Okay, Tormod's Crypt's fine. Could maybe fuse Wear Tear on these 2. Yeah, you can't play Finale. You really just can't make the curve any higher than it is. Do you really need Steam Vents? Can one just be a Sulphur Falls? Yeah. You keep one-landers all the time with this deck. One-landers are, like, pretty common, and so if that one-lander's a Sulphur Falls, like, you can very easily turn a keepable hand into a mulligan. It kind of sounds like a comment like, I only own 2 Steam Vents. I don't want to buy a 3rd, is what that comment sounds like. They were just passing back. That's an Otherworldly Gaze. Which one is Otherworldly Gaze? Is that the one where you like look at the top 3 cards and you don't draw a card? Because that's the card that gets mentioned a lot, and I think that card's not good, but I haven't tested it. It could be good. Oh, whoops. Deck. Not card. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I think that card's not that good. I could be wrong. Like that one could surprise me, right? But this deck has been feeling really strong. And the thing is with Gaze is only good if you hit a Phoenix or a Demilich. Otherwise, I think the card's like rather weak. Obviously, you get to keep the flashback. But, I don't know. I think I'm just not about it. So I almost never do this, but I guess I'm still. I should have probably scoured first, but I just can't bring myself to cycle the Manamorphose yet. We did miss. Really want to be able to fuse. I could cycle Manamorphose to try to find a land. Let's do it. That might just be game. I think I'll bolt the Walker and pass. What do you think of side of hand of Blue-Red Murktide? I can't imagine playing it over Consider a Thought Scour. I'm the idiot that's going to force Darcy by cutting Bolt for Tarfire. In this deck? Well, it's also like you're cutting Bolt for Tarfire. What are you cutting Prismatic Ending for Sanctifier for DRC? Because I also don't recommend that, but you can do whatever you want, of course. Yeah, this is Consider another new card from the new Innistrad set. This is it's like Opt, but you surveil one instead of scrying one. Do you play Serum because sorcery? Yeah. Well, I'm already saying that you should replace Serum Visions in Blue-Red Murktide with Consider, right? That's you know, you should already be replacing Serum Visions, in my opinion. But sorcery matters a lot less than you think. I've played a lot of Murktide without like sorcery cantrips and not really missed it. So I want to Alpine Moon this Saga, right? I don't want to use Tear on the Saga. 5, 6, 7. This is so much damage though if we let it live. Graveyard. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to. Oh, I almost named Alpine Moon with Alpine Moon. That kind of Monday. Rosie, 2 months, appreciate ya. Are Arid Mesas playable instead of Flooded? Flooded's a lot better because like they get you your basics. Arid Mesa can't get you a basic. Thoughts on Rin and 7? I mean, card seems to be very strong in Standard. I don't think really that it's gonna see Modern play, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it's I believe a bug that it allows you to name, you know, basically a not legal target. Another Wear Tear, that's so good. So now we'll have to fuse on the Ballista pre-combat, or after combat because of the Ozolith. Post-sport, thank you for the gifted subs, really nice of you. And $10 from Green Sky Dragon. Thoughts on this combo Taxes Brew? If you could post the link in chat, I'll take a look. And then they probably don't use their Ballista here so that they can get counters on the Ozolith, right? Yeah, Fuse should only count as one spell, I think. Blademan, 15 months. Appreciate you, buddy. So I've played Ugin's Conjurant Celestial Curate in the past, and usually I prefer to only play one copy of Ugin's Conjurant and tutor it off of 4 copies of Ranger Captain and Eladamri's Call. Like, this is a card that you're not that happy to draw, but if you have 8 tutors for it, you're not gonna you'll be able to have like very easy access to it. So my first inclination is to cut the 3 of the Conjurates. I also don't like the Lurrus. I think that Lurrus is very weak in the main deck of modern decks. It's just not that good. I think looping Conjurate is not really that necessary. I don't think, like, you can play 2 Conjurates if you really want to, but really you just don't need to conjure it more than like 1 time a game, in my experience. How are we navigating this? It's going to be really tough. That Tormod's Crypt is, of course, been a thorn in our side for too long. Maybe we can get these Demiliches casted this turn. Let me cast Mending and try to do that. Okay, cool. So we can go discard Phoenix. I guess we need to try to... I guess we could keep Wear Tear.
What's up? It's me, your friend.
No, I think we just discard this and try to draw another 1-mana spell, and then we get to play 3 Liches, and then they'll pop the Crypt on the Phoenix. Oh, I can't cast this. So bad. I can cast 1 Lich, but we might just be going to game 3. 1 Oust, 2 Path. I mean, Prismatic Ending is really, really good with Thalia, since like the cost doesn't really negate it that much. I would just play 4 Prismatic Endings in the main deck. This splash of blue for Lavinia is weird to me. Are you only playing Lavinia off of... You don't have any blue lands, and you're just trying to Violet in or play it off Hierarch. I think that's nonsense, especially when I think Drannith Magistrate is largely better than Lavinia. Obviously, they do some things a little bit different, but for the most part, I've just been happy with Magistrate. At least you force them to pop the Relic, but probably going to game 3. Yeah, so I'd recommend cutting the Lurrus, cutting 2 Conjurates, playing 4 Giver of Runes, playing the 4th Ranger Captain, playing 4 Prismatic Endings in the main.
What's up? It's me.
Play Drannith Magistrate over Lavinia. It's not really even that close. Ghostly Prison is not a playable modern card. Don't put that in your deck. Just play more Sanctifiers. Play like 2 more Sanctifiers there. Whiskey 10 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Tippus with the 500 bits. Lavinia hits Murktide. Lavinia dies really, really easily in the Murktide matchup. It's really, really fragile in that matchup. It's like Lavinia's like stops Rhinos, but it dies to Stomp, it dies to Fire, it stops Karn Liberated and Ugin against Trom, it doesn't stop Blaststone, it doesn't stop Karn the Great Crater, it doesn't stop Ulamog, doesn't stop Wormcoil. It's like Lavinia does a lot of things decently, but it doesn't do anything super duper well because it really is fragile in a lot of the matchups it's brought in, and it doesn't completely stop any deck. Besides maybe Living End. Oh yeah, also doesn't stop Regent because it's non-creature, that's right. I think Consider's better than Scour in Reanimator, but I mean, I'm not going to call you just flat wrong. I mean, the card selection in Reanimator really, really matters, and you don't have that many cards that are just like great to mill over. But you could write a dissertation on why I'm wrong on TikTok. Does Mending have a spot in Jeskai Murktide? Probably not, no. Like, you need to be discarding cards for value for Mending to be good. Yeah, the card's just not that strong if you're not doing that. I don't know bits are, so take them all, thanks. But I think you know what bits are. If I had to guess. Right. Mill land, draw lands. Usually I'll cast Salvaging in spots like this because the rebound just really does set up for some powerful turns, and we can loot away our extra Alpine Moon here pretty easily. Replacements for Chalice and Surgical. I don't know, man. Both those cards are pretty important. But Chalice is for, you know, the Cascade matchups, and Surgical is for the Reanimator matchups, and so you have to, if you're going to replace it, you'll have to figure out better sideboard cards or budget sideboard cards for those matchups specifically. Tempest, thank you for the gifted, or 2 gifted subs. Looks like that's for deck tech. I think I'll Scour in response to Salvaging in case I hit Phoenix off the Scour. Manamorphose, interesting. I was thinking Fluster for Chalice. I'm confused. I play both. I play 3 Flusterstorms and 2 Chalice on the board, but I already there's already 3 Flusterstorms in the sideboard, so you know you can figure it out. You're smart.
What's up?
You know,
It's B, your friend.
I imagine you understand like what these sideboard cards are here for. You'll get it done. All right, so let's make blue red. Oh wait, is this already 0 mana? This is already 0 mana, so I guess it's still blue red though. Saga, Lich, pass. Postboard with the 5-pack. Thank you, buddy. Yes, war you. The war begins. It's a gifted sub-war, or do you have a deck tech? Would I try Teferi Tribal deck? Did you look into my Dream Journal and find out what we're playing next? Is there a Teferi Tribal payoff, or you just like have fun time? You're playing all the Teferis. Woohoo! Is that Teferi Tribal? I don't know what Teferi Tribal is. Raise the 500 bits. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'm still liking the Esper Reanimator list. Although Spider Space top 8'd the challenge with a version that's not playing Chalice, that's playing Consider and Thoughtseize, and that might be better in the metagame at the moment. I'm not sure. It seems like it has potential for sure to be better. What do you think, Tom? So I block here. They ping. Oh, they get a lot of counters. Yeah, we can't block. We have an ending to flashback with the Lich. Oh, man. Oh, man. Alright, I guess we'll make them use the crypt, huh? They're not? Tempest with the 5-pack. Thank you so much, buddy. What are we exiling here? I feel like it's either the Ozlith or Scales. I think I'll target the Ozlith just because, like, this makes Wear Tear a lot better. I'm really surprised they didn't crypt me, though. Yeah, with how the challenge went, Graveyard Hate might be big on the uptick. Oh my gosh. This is too much. Postboard with the 20-pack. Not forcing crypts. Well, I thought that they would crypt after I attacked, but they didn't, so they still have the crypts. Jeez, post. We lost the trophy race. What Blue Moon would consider Murktide? That's what the trophy leader, the Pin Sword, has been playing. Is Blue Moon with Consider and Murktide. So the deck definitely seems viable. Rude Crew, 13 months. Appreciate ya. Red Tempest concedes. I didn't start the war, yeah, but you finished it. They get Hangerback Walker. They Legend Rules a Boz. Yeah. So that's 3 more counters. Oh. No, because there's a Boz trigger. So we take 8 down to 9, and they have a Ballista with 6 counters. I'm not dead if I crack here, but it's looking pretty bad, especially with the Tormod's Crypts. We need to draw really well. Okay, that's the start. So let's go Path Walking Ballista. And then go to combat. quite as good a draw as Ending, but still pretty good. I guess the Mending should keep us alive here, right? Rare Pelican, Twitch Prime, JK, 10 months. Thank you guys. Path means they have to use Crypt? I would think they just didn't use the Crypt last turn, though. You think Draw with Magistrate is good? Yeah, I do. Like, that third point of toughness is so crucial against Rhinos. Well, I don't think it's necessarily that good with Spell Queller. there are a lot of combos with Spell Queller in Modern, you know. So let's see if they get the land or not. They do get the land. All right, I'm gonna try to path the boss. So we'll see if they let me. They do? Okay. And so I've cast 2 spells here, so I should probably go Manamorphose Mending. If I find another Lich, I get to cast Lich. Things are turning around, right? They have 2 cards in their hand, though. They just got 2 more mana. This game's not over. They also have Luris' Companion, but it's, like, not very castable here. Alright, I guess we'll Ending the Scales. Seems like a good use of our... better than Mending here. Yeah, the old border Demilich is MTG only, but it does look really good. Two cards in hand. We're dead to Ravager, Ballista as exactly the last 2 cards. Hangerback Walker. They can let me Prismatic Ending this? Let's see what that last card is. Ravager. Okay. Really scary. Jeez. Let's target this. Put a counter, have a 1/1. They were supposed to target the Ravager. Assuming they like don't crack the Crypt, but they should sacrifice Tormod's Crypt here, and then Mending's 2 life should save me. Right, I target Ravager here. If I target the Walker, it's a bit awkward. I target the Ravager. Okay, thank goodness I don't have to think about it. Saving Crypt for the next match, maybe, yeah. They take 4, down to 8. Main phase this Mending. I think I'm going to tap like this. 2 life. Really crucial here. This card's Steam Vents Lich, then ending the Ravager. BK, thank you for the 2 months. So they sack, they put a counter here, or they can sack and make a 1/1. Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, if they put the counter on the Walker, I'm just not that worried because we can flashback next turn. They've got no cards in hand. Yeah, it's so hard to just save Tormod's Crypt for a ton of value because it's in play. You know, you just have plenty of time to wait on it. Yeah, Demilich flashing back Mendings and Paths are just such a powerful thing to do in this matchup. I've been beating the Hammer Time matchup a lot with, just Demilich control. Oh, oh, this is match 1? I really thought this was not the first match. Oh, no. Dude, that's a sick top deck. Way better than Cage. We do, how many Mendings we have 1 Ending left and 3 Wear Tears left in the deck. And they can block and level, which is pretty good here. Oh my gosh, what is this attack? What is this attack? Dude, my opponent they're just trying to give me the W. I don't know. Lich doesn't care about Cage. Okay, well that's dumb, but I think you're right. Do I exile the Walker or the Cage? I've got Wear Tear for the Cage, so I'll exile the Walker. Okay, well, I didn't... This is dumb that it works this way, but... Thank you, chat. You see, you imagine go to F&M, your opponent cages, and they're like, actually, my Demilich, I know that it's in the graveyard, I know I'm casting it, but it's going to go to Exile first, so... I do get to cast it through your Grafdigger's Cage. Sorry, you should have read the rulebook. Yeah, no cage doesn't work on Living End. Let's keep this. Aren't you casting a copy with Lich? Maybe. My opponent's just gone Blackleaf Cliff, Suspend, Greater Gargadon. That sounds right. I'm not 100% sure. Have you added cards from Midnight Hunt to a modern deck? Well, this deck is playing 4 copies of Faithful Mending and 4 copies of Consider, which are both Midnight Hunt cards. So like a sacrifice deck, but bad, maybe. Maybe good. We'll see. Yeah, this deck is playing a lot. Yeah. Midnight Hunt seems to be more impactful than the D&D set, although we are playing Demilich from Forgotten Realms. Alright, so next we start off with a spell from the Salvaging. Drawing both islands makes things a bit awkward here, because we're not guaranteed to be able to get a Phoenix back, because we can't go Salvaging Bolts. But we're really likely to be able to cast. We have just so many draws that get us there, you know? So let me think I'm going to fetch first, and then let's go Sacred Foundry, so we have white mana, Serum Visions, and then I'd like to cast the Lich. It might not be possible if I also want to exile the Bombardment, but man, dude! This deck is just cracked, man. This deck is just the sickest ever. I've been so impressed by this deck. It's turn 3, 2 Liches and a Phoenix. Just very consistent, very powerful, very hard to interact with. Smoldering Egg is not good in Modern, I think. It's like, it's not easy to flip, or at least it's like about as hard as Thing in the Ice is, and it's not like more powerful than Thing in the Ice. Like the backside of Smoldering Egg is pretty mediocre in my opinion, for like how much work you have to do to flip it. Rex, thank you for the Twitch Prime. As for control with lots of verdicts, to prefer Orb over Plague Engineer against humans. Yeah. Have I played against Blue-White Control in this matchup? I heard time against Force Solitude. I'm like 6-0 against Blue-White Control. We beat Wafu in the challenge. The control matchup's good. There's maybe like nuance with playing against it, but yeah, like Solitude is good against you, but it's not even that good. A lot of times they have to like 2-for-1 themselves to answer a card that you spent no mana on. So it's like fine, but it's not that big a deal. I should have cast these cantrips in the opposite order. You're supposed to cast these cantrips. It's pretty easy. Serum Visions, then Scour, then Consider. Is just cast them always in that order if you have access to multiples. Yeah, Demilich is great. I don't know. People were so low on Demilich when I was first getting this deck together, but I've been really impressed by it. I've already played my land. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I'll bolt this, and then I'll Scour myself, and I guess I will not be able to play the Lich from the yard this turn. No, if there's an instant underneath the Lich, I can. Yeah, there is. Yeah, Lich is just great. Look, I just milled this into the graveyard and cast it for 0 mana. It's just so good. What matches up well against this deck? Esper Reanimator, Mono Green Tron. Living End's a really weird matchup. I'm currently 1-1 against it. And the one I lost to is Nassif, who's of course, maybe one of the greatest definitely one of the greatest Magic players of all time. So maybe shouldn't read too much into that one. I haven't played the Elementals matchup. It kind of depends on how many Endurances they're playing, to be honest. Where like Canister's main decking 0 endurance, sideboarding 2. And so, like, I feel like that version's, like, not that tough. If they're main decking a bunch of endurances, the matchup is pretty tough, probably. So, I think that's what it's going to boil down to. How does Grixis Just Down beat the deck? I think you probably should be sideboarding Surgical over Lantern at the moment. But, like, I mean, this deck is very good against the Ragavan decks. Which is good, right? I think we needed the deck to exist to be good against the Ragavan decks. Let's keep this. Their deck doesn't seem that soft to bolt. I'll put back bolts. Yeah, I'm really, really liking the deck. I'm having a ton of fun with it. Visions first makes sense. Why Scour before Consider? So Scour is a cantrip that requires you to make 0 decisions when you cast it. You just target yourself and see what you get. And then Consider is a cantrip that has you make a decision. You look at the top card and put it in the graveyard. And your decision with Thought Scour, or your decision with Consider, will be informed by the card you draw with Thought Scour, if that makes sense. Oh, here into the Nile Spellbomb, that's going to change. I'm just going to play Consider to try to find an answer. Let's graveyard that. Yeah. It's just been it's been crazy how easy it is to, like, just beat the hate, because you play so many cantrips and you play so many answers to, like, Nile Spellbomb, cards like this. Why not Otherworldly Gaze? That card does not draw a card. I think Otherworldly Gaze is unplayable. I haven't tested it. It could be good, but, like, let's not pretend like that card, like, is clearly the way to go. You know what I mean? So they go for a Gargadon sack rather than exiling these, which makes me happy with the Demilich in my hand. Alright, so let's go Manamorphose, blue-white, Consider. Alright, I guess we just have to keep that and fizzle this turn, but mooning the Saga is just a bit too important here. And they didn't sack it to Gargadon, because they could get more graveyard hate off the Saga, probably. Thoughtseize, Blossoming Calm, and Thing in the Ice on the side for Thoughtseize decks, and then Elementals. Don't play Blossoming Calm for Thoughtseize decks, play it for Burn. Like, Blossoming Calm is not a card that gets anything going for you. It just... That card is for Burn. Don't bring anything against Thoughtseize decks. And then, I don't think Thing in the Ice is... I would play Torpor Orb over Thing in the Ice for Elementals. I think people mostly... I feel like a lot of the suggestions for Thing in the Ice, it kind of feels like people just want that card to be... They want to play the old Phoenix deck, so they want to play that card, is kind of how it feels. Just trying to think, should I use Wear Tear or Ending on this construct? Wait, are we dead to Gargadon? Yeah, we're going to be dead to Gargadon if we fetch Shock Ending, so I guess we'll have to Tear in combat. People ever play more than 2 extractions? I'm playing 3 at the moment. Yeah, I think Gaze is just not a strong card. It, like, obviously has some... It will have some crazy turns where you get to put 3 Phoenixes or Liches in the yard, but... It's like... I just really think it's not a card you want to be playing. I think I'll just get a basic island here, so I'm not dead to a Gargadon attack. I'm just going to cast this from the yard. I don't think I want Ending a Cookbook. Yeah, so they can get Gargadon here very easily. I'm kind of surprised they didn't cast it last turn. Oh, we're dead. Yeah, they killed my Lich. Gargadon super kill me. Wow. That was pretty good. I don't think I went Path to Exile for Gargadon. What decks am I playing today? I'll play this for a little while. I'm really enjoying this deck, and then I also have the Team of Reclamation deck I want to try out. But you know, again, I'll just play this until I'm not having fun with it or want to break from it. Do I play Commander ever? I've got a Sea Monster Commander deck. I used to play a lot of Commander, but not so much these days. I have to send this one back. Dang it. Go to 5. Can I use your cloud to get Faithless Looting back? I will never advocate for Faithless Looting on ban. Faithless Looting is way too strong in Modern. It's never going to happen, I think. Yeah, his hand's not that good either. How do you decide the number of lands you're playing? There's a lot of good Frank Carson articles about it for you to like learn the math on it, but a lot of times also, you know, after playing Magic all day every day for years, you start to understand like how many lands decks need, right? And then you play test a little bit and you understand even better after that. Let's keep both of these. Yeah, I could play Chain to the Rocks over Path. Is that better? Chain to the Rocks over Path? I really hate Path, and Chain to the Rocks is like way better against Ragavan DRC. This is also an instant though for Demilich Phoenix. I like the Thought. Ever had an issue with Magic Online not starting when I launch it? Not really, no. I would maybe recommend uninstalling the program and reinstalling. Chain to Rock seems to play with so many EE around, but yeah, but who's gonna bring in EE against me, right? Like, EE seems like a terrible card against me. Wow, I played around Mayhem Double. So we're gonna go looting end of turn here. Or mending end of turn, sorry. Discard Lich Wear Tear, so I can go tear this, bolt this, cast Lich from the yard. Now I can also scour. Saga decks might bring in E after they see Moon. I would, if they do that, I'm thrilled. But I'm also like probably not bringing in Chain to the Rock against Saga decks. I didn't find another creature, but we got a Demilich, we got a full graveyard. Definitely a good way to, you know, unmulligan a little bit. Let me exile Scour, Visions, Scour. I think Consider's just generally the best cantrip to play off of this. Could have maybe exiled the Bolts. I was playing a red-black Sacrifice Brew, it seems. Discard 2 lands. Why do you cut the Basic Mountain? Basic Mountain's pretty... It ended up being worse than I thought it was in your deck with all these 1-mana cantrips and in a deck with Faithful Mending. Just like drawing the mountain ended up being pretty bad a lot of the time, and so I ended up deciding it was just best to cut it. Okay, put that in the graveyard. I'm gonna wish it was coming back this turn, but it's probably coming back next turn. Why not just oust over Path since this deck kind of prefers sorcery speed? I don't hate the suggestion. That being said, like permanently dealing with the Murktide or Sanctifier in Vex does seem pretty important. I also bring in Path against Reanimator. Path is also better there, so there's, you know, there's a few ins and a few outs to the case. Draw a 1-mana enchantment, then exile creature is great in format full of Prismatic. 1-mana enchantment, then exile creature is great. Are we talking about like Change the Rocks? Because it's like Prismatic Ending is bad against our deck, right? And so like our deck seems to be more easily able to play a card like Change the Rocks, where like explosives and bad are bad. Explosives and Prismatic Ending are really bad against their deck, so I really just don't anticipate people playing very many copies of that card post-board against us. But I also still think Path is just better for the instance, for the synergy in the deck. Alright, let's make blue-red. Alright, hope to... I guess we can tear the Shadow Spear or Mending and get our Phoenixes back here, but then we can't flay a spell off Lich, and we might let them untap with Devil. I guess I'll Mending. I feel like the life matters a lot here. Okay, well, things worked out pretty well. Call. But how many Phoenixes are we attacking with? Feels good to me. Do you think that I said sideboard slots? No. Like the sideboard is super taxed right now. Where I really wish I had like 20 sideboard slots so I could play more Tron sideboard cards, and so I could play Blossoming Calm too. But you just don't have enough slots to play all those cards. The sideboard feels very taxed in this deck. I'm not of the opinion that you have the luxury of like, oh, let's play Thing in the Ice, cause I don't know why, you're already really good against creature decks, you know? People just like, I think like people just like Thing in the Ice. Block here, block here. No attack with Lich, you have Bolted Graveyard. Demilich does not cast the spell without paying its mana cost. You have to spend mana to cast the spell. Yikes! Can't believe it. I think I'm gonna bolt the Devil in response to the trigger. Maybe I should have bolted them. It's just, I'm not likely to be lethal. Although maybe I should have saw that I only have one more bolt in the deck. Oh, and maybe I'll draw it, and maybe I won't also draw a red land to play it. It's pretty funny. So I can't cast my Liches this turn, but I can get back my Phoenixes, and I think with the Den of the Bugbear, I just need to leave them all back. Yeah, that'd be fine, Count Storm. You can also play, actually, instead of that card, play Invasive Surgery. That was lethal, don't have 3 Phoenixes. My opponent's at 14, what are you talking about? Yeah, you're good, you're good. Tense game for sure. Right, Visions first, great draw. Let's get our Phoenixes back for sure. And hopefully both Liches too. Yeah, I think it feels weird to Thought Scour my opponent here, but I think we have to do to get our Liches back. Graveyard that. Right, Scour myself now, because I don't really want to bolt this stuff that badly. Salvaging. Scour. Manamorphose. Bolts. Wear Tear probably. Second Wear Tear. Another cantrip. So it should be safe to attack with all these, right? Yeah. Call. If you bolted the opponent, it was lethal last turn. Well, last turn was the turn I could have bolted the opponent. That was the same turn. Right? Yeah, that was the same turn that I chose not to bolt the opponent. I bolted an upkeep. Wait, changes to deck? I think I changed like one sideboard card. But I've been liking the deck a lot. Yeah, they were at 4. Yeah, they would have gone to 2. It's okay. Just chat, finding lethal lines all the time. Yeah, opponent's deck is very cool, for sure. Do I just bolt them? I guess it would be better to exile a token. Because this represents 4 life gain from chumping a Lich. Ending Spear. I mean, they're just dead here. I don't need to deal with the Spear. Yeah, this deck is cracked. Oh yeah, we multiplied that game. Or was that last game? That might have been last game. But you can play it for as 0 mana, 1 mana, 2 mana, depending on how many spells you've played previously. Alright, no discard outlets, have to mulligan a hand with that many creatures. Keep this. I guess we can get basic islands since we have the Foundry. Although maybe I'll just still get Steam Vents since I'm putting back a land. No, I don't miss Lava Dart, to be honest. I liked it in the older versions, but I just don't think it's like necessary really anymore. I think I need to bottom both of these. It's gonna be mono red Eldrazi. This can be Belcher. Belcher's a bad matchup, of course. Like, we just don't have interaction in the main deck, and geez, Belcher's has got to be a terrible matchup. So let's hope this is mono red Eldrazi. Okay, thank Clothis. I played this matchup earlier. It seemed pretty good. Alright, so it's been the Phoenix, and then maybe the Gut Shot. I think it'll been the Gut Shot. It's kind of close. I don't know, Gut Shot's pretty good against Obligator. Obviously should have upkeeps considered, huh? So I'm just going to cast this Ending so I can play the Demilich for 0 mana here. It's a good trick to have up your sleeve. You could just cast Ending X equals 0. River Kelpley. That does seem pretty powerful in the deck. You get to draw a lot of cards. Love the suggestion. Got shots for Dart. I mean, like, Dart is a lot worse with this mana base, where you do play you play Fountain, you play basic islands, and then Gut Shot is a card it's always 0 mana, where like the Lava Dart requires that initial mana investment first. They just conceded. They must have been out of mana reshapers. You know, it's like you need that initial mana investment with the Dart, which can be awkward. You don't always have a target for it. I've played Dart in like old Izzet versions. It just hasn't felt necessary to me in this deck. You know what my overall record is? I don't. It wouldn't be that hard to figure out, but I've also been like changing some things as we go. All right, let me pull up the mono red Eldrazi list. I can never remember exactly what it looks like. I know they played Chalice, so I probably won't Wear Tear. They've got Relic in the sideboard too. Yeah, so let's bring in the Wear Tears and the Paths. Gutshot's pretty good against the Ragavan Obligators, but Bolt seems a bit bad. I'll trim like at least 2. Could trim a Salvaging 2 Visions. This looks pretty good to me. Oh wait, the endings are important to deal with the hate, but they're not that good game 1, but they're a lot better sideboard games. Is Prison a good matchup? What's Prison? Right? Like I'm not aware that there's a Prison deck that exists in Modern at the moment. Probably can keep this. Why is considered the best target for Demilich? It just gives you that immediate card with some selection. Where Serum Visions, like, often, like, you need to, like, untap to draw the card you scry into, and Thought Scour doesn't give you any selection. And if you're attacking with Lich, I think you want to keep, like, pushing that advantage you have. So I tend to just leave Considers in the yard for Lich. Put a moles to 6. Narset looks like it shuts this shit down. Yeah, probably. I mean, I haven't seen a Narset in Modern since Uro was around. Maybe a little bit. Ah! Ah. Ah. Who cares, Ragavan? That was a big, you know, a big 180, huh? Do you wish Surveil had the Surveil keyword instead of what it currently has? I'm not a card designer. I don't care. I don't care that this doesn't have Surveil on it. I just want to play the cards. It makes no difference to me. Yikes. I guess we have fountains, so I can try to mending. We need to find a land. We've got 2 mana spells here. Got one, and never mind, we don't. Okay, that's an answer to Chalice. Just need to find a land. They can maybe Thought Not Seer it though. They've got 3 cards in hand. Yeah, if I had 3 wishes or even 1 wish for Magic the Gathering changes, changing this line of text to Surveil 1 would not be very high on my list of things to wish for. The number 1 thing I would wish for is for Golos to be unbanned in EDH. It is outrageous that it's still banned. I kind of feel like I'm entering a all-out ground war with Wizards of the Coast because they will not take action and unban Golos. And people keep saying, Spike, Wizards doesn't control the EDH ban list. Yeah, but they could. They could have a full formal seizure of the EDH ban list to get Golos off of there. What's the Golos meme about? I was just kind of like 10 hours into a trophy race stream, and I was kind of delirious and just decided to joke that I cared about the Golos ban. Because, you know, it had just happened, and there's like a lot of people like giving their opinion on it on Twitter and stuff, but obviously it just doesn't affect me at all. Mulligan. I think we go to 5. This hand sucks. Ban Golos, but only as a companion. Yeah, that might work. That might work. Yeah, for those of you who, I guess, need the joke explained to them, I have no strong feelings about the Golos ban. I guess we keep this. Yeah. WotC doesn't make the EDH ban list. It's run by independent people. I don't really know how it works. I don't really care either. All right, let's keep this. I think I'm gonna put back Path, Wear Tear. So we have strong feelings about Consider. I really like Consider. Yeah, Consider's really impressed me. It's been way more powerful than I expected it to be. How's this been doing? This list has been doing very well. I just top 8'd the Modern Challenge on Saturday with like 1 card different. But it's also going to 5, so if we can just draw a land, we're in okay shape. Doom, thank you for the 15 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for entertaining me while I edit a video with this exact deck. Awesome. How did you like it? I know you just met Golos, but the ban cost me 2 LGS players that are probably done with Magic. I believe it. I don't know. I mean, that happens every time a banning happens, right? People quit. Is what it is. I mean, I also like the EDH ban list is just a joke, though. Like this is not something that this is something I actually believe is that the EDH ban list makes no sense. It's like it's just really silly to me that they keep banning cards like Golos when like the format like is clearly dominated, in my opinion. I don't play EDH that often anymore, opinion, although I used to play a lot. The format is just so dominated by the hyper efficient tutors, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Mystical Tutor, these kind of cards, and the hyper efficient fast mana of Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault. And it's like you could just ban like those 7 cards, and then you don't have to keep banning like Sway of the Stars and Worldfire and Golos and Sylvan Primordial. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. Just like, these are just like some of the most efficient and powerful cards in Magic. They're really, really efficient and powerful in EDH. Why are they legal? It doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. We're on Nitpicking Nerds channel for a video once. Yeah, but we didn't talk about EDH there. But I do like the Nitpicking Nerds, yeah. Ban list is for casual EDH, not competitive. Well, that's another thing. It's like ban lists, and like people also like talk about competitive versus casual, right? And like whenever people talk about CEDH, they imply that CEDH is supposed to be the highest power level EDH, which that doesn't make sense to me. When competitive EDH, I think, should try to have a cultivated ban list around being a balanced format that you can compete in to the best of your abilities. And you know, maybe that's not how it's supposed to be, and maybe that's not what EDH players want, and I don't really care that much because I don't really play EDH. But if I feel like a competitive means balanced. A competitive oh, weird. Am I going to Path Matter Reshaper here? I guess so, because I'm not casting it otherwise. Yeah, in my opinion, a competitive format means a balanced format. CEDH is a different type of player. Yeah, I guess, but it's... So the idea is that in CEDH, that's where you ban these cards, and in regular EDH, you just let it be. Because that might be fine. I don't know. Again, I'm a little out of my element, but these are just opinions I have, I guess. And I'd like to formally apologize for having them. So let's make blue-white here. I promise to never voice an opinion on the channel again. That's different from yours. That's pretty good. I do have to play the land, though. But this lets us get our Lich back for 0 mana. Alright, so I want to leave these Manamorphoses in the yard. Let me exile Prismatic Ending, Thought Scour, Salvaging. One of the 2 Considers, one of the 2 Manamorphose. I guess one of the 2 Manamorphose. MCO, thank you for Twitch Prime. CEH is probably best number considering my definition of competitive, which isn't a bad thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, people, is my definition of competitive just like off? I don't really understand, because it's like, I don't really understand why, like, whenever I bring up this idea of competitive EDH should be balanced, like, and just like you should ban like the broken tutors and stuff, it feels like, is this just like a novel concept, or is this actually how people usually want it? I don't know. But it feels like that's just obviously how it should be. But also, like, that's how everybody's opinion is. They just think that's obviously how it should be. Couldn't you use Spirebluff Canal? If you couldn't use Spirebluff Canal, we either went Shocklands or Fetchlands or Triumph. Don't play Triumph. Do not play Triumph, but yeah, play more Shocks and Fetches, I guess. Yeah, all I want is Golos. Me too, man. So they're dead next turn to my bolts. CEDH doesn't want to make a new format. I see. So like, how would you define CEDH at the moment? Is it just high power level EDH? And like, how different is the ban list? Because I don't know. And again, I'm out of my element here. They just want to show off their expensive decks, they ban the cards, newer players competitive. Interesting comment there. I don't know how accurate that is. Do I flashback Bolt and go for the kill, or do I flashback Manamorphose? I mean, I feel like just flashback the Bolt, because if they had a Bolt, they would have done something. If they had a removal spell, they would have cast it, right? Alright, 3-0, let's go. I played Golos LGS later the day after the ban, yeah. CEDH is generally 1v1. Interesting. But like I never played like more formally, you know what I mean? I just kind of played with my friends. So I did like I've never like gone to an LGS, or I have like maybe once or twice, but like I very rarely have gone to an LGS with the expressed intent to go play some Commander, you know. So like the whole like culture around it is just a bit weird to me, a bit alien. Would I advocate for D-Tutor Fast Mana being fully banned in Vintage? Not in Vintage. In Vintage, like, I mean... Yeah, not in Vintage. I think I'll bottom top. I think that restricting those cards is like the even identifying factor of Vintage is its legacy, but you get to play one of like these cards. If you ban those, that's just legacy is the format you're describing. You know what I mean? Let's go to Manamorphose Scour. I think I'm gonna wait a turn. And I'll say this, so we could maybe move on because I imagine most people don't really care, just like me. But EDH players, I think maybe have to get their shit together, or it's just like everybody's like got their own like. There's just so much. I don't know. There's so many feelings about the format, and there's so much like arguing and yelling over like what the format should be. And I don't know. Okay, Titan's a pretty bad matchup, by the way. You have to draw real well. Did hit a Demilich there. In my opinion, the less feelings, the better, huh? Alright, so I think let's go Serum Visions before we Manamorphose to try to like find a looting for the Phoenixes. Bottom. Blue. I guess just make blue. Scour. Oh man. Bit of a brick. I guess. I mean, they could also brick as well, but it's not that likely. In contrast to modern players, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Modern players also like. I mean, at least modern players like accept what the format is. You know what I mean? Okay, they don't have a Titan in their hands, which is, you know, about exactly what we need to have happen for us to have a chance to win. Yeah, but fair enough. Modern players are also a bit nonsensical. Alright, so let's attack with Demilich, and I think I'm going to flashback Manamorphose, and then cast Salvaging, discard Phoenix. I think I can cast Lich for 2 mana. Yeah, maybe it's Magic players that are the problem, huh? Maybe that's one thing we can all agree on. Magic players were the problem the whole time. Yo, Spike. You're the problem. You got me there, Chatter. I guess they can get a map for T-West, which is a very, very slow Titan. But, you know, slow Titan's still a Titan. Next turn we get Exile the other Vigor, which is pretty cool. And we get at least 2 Phoenixes back, probably. I guess you have to draw one more spell. Of course, need them to brick again. Yeah, the darn Magic players ruin Magic for all of us. They immediately get Amulet and not map, which yeah, definitely means they drew the Titan. Bummer. Yeah, needed to fade that for one more turn. This matchup is really bad. It's also not that common. I did write a deck guide for CFB last night. Let me see how I was sideboarding here. So this has me bringing in 2 paths, the Wear Tears, the 2 moons, and cutting the burn spells. I think that looks pretty good to me. Think it's worth to bring in recipes against Prismatic Ending decks. I mean, like this deck, definitely bring in Rest in Peace. But yeah, like it is not that it is not 2 mana win the game. You just can't mulligan that aggressively to it. Chalice, where's their flush? You want to bring in Chalice? Just a Chalice on 0? I think I disagree, but you also want to bring in Flusterstorm? I think Flusterstorm is terrible against Titan. Maybe I'm misreading your comment. You kind of like Chalice? I mean, it's not terrible. I could play one over like the 4th ending. Okay, I guess that's fine. Yeah, the first copy is maybe fine. If Fran were here, maybe I'd, if he told me to play 2, I'd probably play 2. I guess we actually keep both of these. I really do not want to have to Prismatic Ending a Amulet on turn 2. In fact, even if they have it, I maybe just we'll let them have it for a turn. Yeah, it's just like we get to exile the Amulet next turn and Phoenix Demilich, you know. Why do you think the Chalice Esper deck is better than without Chalice? Can't you rather play Thoughtseize, etc., because you already have good answers to those threats? Chalice is nuts in Modern right now. Chalice is like really stinking good in Modern at the moment. That being said, I could be wrong about Chalice being better. Like Spider Space just top 8'd the Modern Challenge without it, and that might be better. But Chalice is just cracked. It's the card's like really absurd in the format. It's like better than it's ever been, and like a deck like Esper Reanimator that just gets to play it almost free, like very low cost. You know, it's definitely something you should be looking at. Yikes. Interesting draw. Let's Manamorphose for blue-white. Oh, that's a really interesting draw too. So Scour myself. Hit another Phoenix. Let's go. Tear the Dryad. Ending an Amulet. I think I can only play one Lich, right? No, you do not need a non-graveyard reliant sideboard plan because you have so many answers to graveyard hate with Prismatic Ending, Wear Tear. I did try one and it just didn't feel necessary. The Murktide Regent didn't feel very good. I think it's not correct to play the Regent. I kind of just want to hold up Path here. Well, if I exile the Amulet, maybe I don't need to. Maybe Salvaging. Maybe we can find a white source. Yeah, I think I'll exile the Amulet. If they Titan, we don't need to Path immediately. How to beat Kaya's Guile? I mean, like you just Kaya's Guile is gonna be like a 2-for-1 against you a lot of the time. Like you can try to sniff it out and play around it, but it's not like you just lose on the spot to Endurance or Kaya's Guile, right? You also, like, against Kaya's Guile Endurance, if you have Demilich in the yard, cast it as soon as you have priority so that they don't have a window to exile it. That's a really important way to play around those cards. Obviously, it's not an auto win or anything, but that is a really big piece of how you can beat those things. But also, you can't beat everything, right? You're really resilient to discard spells and counter spells and removal spells, and this deck is really fragile to other pieces of interaction, so... You know, you're gonna take some L's to graveyard hate when you play this deck. You can't beat literally everything, and that's okay, right? So we get a Phoenix back. Maybe we had lethal actually if I went Path, get back Path. That's fine. It should be pretty hard for us to die. So I'm gonna Thought Scour myself, replay Demilich, hold up Path, and I don't think I can lose. Perhaps the famous last words. But it's like this deck is very good against like permanent based graveyard hate. It's less good against cards like Kaya's Guile Endurance. But you know, again, you can't beat everything, and You shouldn't try to beat everything. If you try to beat everything, then you're going to lose percentage points that actually matter. Granted 3 Voidwalker decks. I mean, you have 8 main deck answers to Voidwalker. It shouldn't be that card's not that hard to beat. You're a Lightning Bolt Prismatic Ending deck. Like, sometimes you lose to it, but it's just like, it is what it is. Well, we won a game. It's kind of surprising. I said Merc, I'm gonna have to turn the Ox. I don't think Ox is gonna be good for like the same reasons, where you just don't want to raise the mana curve at all. Like, you don't need the Ox. Like, you have an incredibly good late game in this deck. You don't need to play Ox of Agonis. But it's also like this deck has been crushing. We've been killing with this deck, and I just don't know why people always like it's like this deck specifically. People just keep trying to reinvent it, but I'm telling you, this list is good. This list is good, and it really doesn't require that much changes. Arcane Spike, 3 months, thanks, buddy. You hear my voice change from my yelling at chat voice to my thanks for the sub voice. Chat, we cannot play Expansion Explosion. Okay, our draws lined up very well against theirs. I think I'm going to exile the Amulet on turn 1. Then we can tear the Saga. Or maybe I should just tear the Saga now. Yeah, this is just like way better if they're only on bounce lands, right? Are fetches really necessary? Yes. I mean, I don't know how to build a deck without them. You could try to play some amount of just like all fast land shock lands, which wouldn't be a cheap way to build a deck. But it's also true, like, in 3-color decks that want 3 different colors of mana on turn 1, fetch lands are way more important in these kinds of decks than in any other, than like in other 3-color decks. Where we want white for ending on 1, visions, and bolts, and it's just really hard to, like, try to cut these cards, unfortunately. Yeah. Also, fetch lands are at an all-time low in price, right? So it's like, you know, this deck is relatively budget friendly beyond the fetches. Although I guess like our floods, like I know the like Scalding Tarns are like at an all-time low, right? Probably, but maybe the Flooded Strands aren't. But you know, you could like Arid Maces. I think are very cheap. The mana base would be worse with Arid Maces, but you know, you could play them or something. I don't know. You can figure it out how the best way to do it for your own budget. But this is it's hard to try to cut the fetches from the mana base. Not on time low, much lower in release. Yeah, I guess I'm still just kind of feeling like it's still released, although we're a few months removed now. Alright, so let's discard the Demilich, get a little bit of value here. So we can go Manamorphose, Prismatic Ending, this, and then hold up Path and play Lich? No, I have to spend a mana on the Lich. White, blue. This is... we can still play Lich for 0 and cast this. So bottom, blue, red, ending. Lich for 0 mana from the graveyard. I'm going to leave Wear Tear. Exile at least one ending. Exile Salvaging, Manamorphose, Serum Visions. Beating Titan would be a big game. This matchup's really bad. We have Path, but that's pretty good. Good old Castle Garenbrig, huh? Prismatic Ending, the best white card print in the last 8 years? Probably. I mean, Luris, actually. Luris is. Luris. Maybe the best mono white card. But also, like, white being bad has honestly, like, not really been true in Modern for the most part. It's, like, more so, like, been true in Standard, I think. Is Luris the best black card also? Yeah, I think so. I mean, Luris is, like, maybe one of the best Magic cards ever printed. you know, it like that card was banned in Vintage, and it is banned in Legacy. It's a pretty good one. We found a Phoenix. We found another path, which is pretty nice. Although, oh no, we're not holding it up, and then they can haste a Titan next turn. Which they definitely have if they got Garrison, Sunhome. Usually I'll flashback Consider, but I think I'll Serum Visions instead. Oh, this is bad if we would have found a Lich, which we would have done. Golly. Or maybe not. Maybe this is the top card, I'm not sure. Guess I'll keep the cantrips, though. This is going to be a fine turn for next turn. Should be on ban in Legacy. It was banned pre-revision. Lurrus would be really good in Legacy, I think. Even post-ban. Maybe I haven't played a lot of Legacy lately, but I know like Ant would still play it. And it would be good in Ant, even post-nerf. And it's like very free in that deck. But maybe Ant needs the buff. And then like Murktide Region, it's a good reason not to play it. So maybe it would be fine actually. Maybe you're right. I'm not sure. I think it would still be very playable, just like Lurrus is very playable in Modern, you know, and like you know has a lot of things going for it in Legacy it doesn't have in Modern. Symbiosis, and they can't haste Titan even if they hit it here. Yeah, rest in peace, Zerda. You guys think Zerda would be safe to unban? I'm not sure. Oh, bummer. Got any Zerda-neers in chat? Chalice on 1? No! No, dude. You're kidding me. How do they have Chalice on 1 here? Fuck. How is that the card in their hand? Okay. Yesterday, when I was recording my Channel Fireball video, I was recording with this deck, and a bit of a spoiler, but I got double Surgical Extraction on my Liches and Arclight Phoenixes, which you might think is, you know, just a bad beat, but it was an extra bad beat because I got Surgical from Teamer Rhinos. Teamer Rhinos Surgicaled me. So many people were playing Graveyard Hate, I think. Although I should have been playing Leyline over Surgical. That's mulligan this. I don't know. I feel weird about linking it. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm self-conscious about a feature match I'm in being linked when I stream, but I don't know. I feel weird about it for some reason. And I'm allowed to. Okay. Do I want the second Demilich? I think I do. I guess we're gonna shuffle it anyways. So we're gonna go end of turn Mending. I know I specifically saw your list. No, I thought that you had. I thought we had talked about it in the past, Ross. Full Wagon 10 months. I saw a list from your MTGO, and that's what I start with. Okay, I thought it was from like this tournament here. Because I even think that, like Mono Red Phoenix had been popular at this point, but I think that, like, I trophied with the Blue Red Phoenix deck before the SCG tournament, but I think that, I don't even think that those lists were published yet, but maybe I'm wrong. It's all, like, a blur. Dude, we're playing the Mirror, and my opponent missing lands. But maybe I'm misremembering. It's all in the past. I always feel like Uncle Rico though when I talk about Blue Red Phoenix and like how, you know, I played at the SCG tournament and I top 16'd and you know, I just feel like Uncle Rico living in the past. Blue Red, maybe Blue would have been better. Definitely would have been better here. You'll find a Bolt or Gut Shot. Nope. Alright, top. Get a Phoenix back. Yeah, we could have cast a Lich here. I think I should have made blue for sure. Thanks, Full Wagon. So I'm going to upkeep Thought Scour my Phoenix away. Making your brews, do I take into account its matchup against the last popular decks I brewed? No, I don't have that big of an influence on the metagame. Like maybe I'll think about it if I do actually expect the deck to be popular, but that's not usually my method. All right, that's all 4 Phoenixes. Okay, so I can cast a Demilich, or I can flashback Mending and try to find Gutshot to win the game. But we're already so ahead. I don't think I need to make like that desperate play. I'll just get a Lich, and this is also like very likely to win. What else? Think for Twitch Prime. The Midnight Hunt cards are really good. I think Midnight Hunt is going to end up being a pretty impactful set to Modern. Consider and Mending are probably going to be the most impactful cards, but just in general, like they felt like really, really important. I am playing 3 Surgicals, and I do think if this matchup ends up becoming quite popular, like Surgical does end up being a really good sideboard card. That being said, it's my first time playing this matchup, so it's like a bit early to like really be going all in on the mirror. I guess Gutshot also seems pretty bad. You can maybe play 1. But we have Surgical as like that 0-mana spell. I guess the bolts are fine. They unsummon the creatures. Did I thank you for your Prime whatevs? I think I did. But either way, thanks. With Socialite? I don't think any of the new Vampire cards are good enough to make Vampires a deck in Modern. We'll see. Alright, this is a very good mull to 5. Let's keep this, go back. Demilich Mending? Kinda close. Been tempted to run off-color Shock to have 4th color for ending. Well, you have Manamorphose for that, but I haven't been tempted, no. But your mana's like, you're only playing 17 lands, you can't really afford it. Yeah, we're doing pretty well in the multi-5s. You really don't want to go to 4, but you can go to 5 pretty easily. Would I ever consider boarding out Visions? Yeah, I board out Visions in some matchups. Not this matchup where Prismatic Ending and Gutshot are pretty bad. But I do side out Serum Visions. I side all of them out against Hammer Time because I have so many cards for that matchup. What happens in the mirror, but people have double Surgical? Someone's getting decked, I guess. But also, Flusterstorm to counter Surgical is really important. Did I not bring in all 3? It's my first time playing the matchup. Yeah, bring in all 3, sorry. I think I'm supposed to try to find the land. Okay, found the land. They could have shocked to have Mending flashback up. I don't know why they didn't do that. Main phase flashback Mending. That's true. You can also Surgical to like somewhat counter the other Surgicals. Discard Lich. I'm gonna discard Mending. Discard the other Lich now, probably. So 1 spell's been cast. Surgical their Lich, 2 spells. I can go Bolt, Lich. And if I get to Flusterstorm, then we're just in good shape. They have 2 paths for my 2 Liches. I only have lands for 1 of them. So I guess I go Steam Vents, Lich, Flusterstorm, a Path. Hopefully they play Path end of turn, I guess. Doesn't path end of turn. Bummer. Tell me why 1 or 2 Murktides are bad in the deck. I tried it. You're raising your mana curve. The mana curve is like, you really, like, any action you take that raises your mana curve makes your deck worse. Demilich also, or Murktide also has tension with Demilich, which is like very hungry for instants and sorceries. Although sometimes has synergy, right? But that's usually a bit win more. But like, yeah, but like, any action you take to raise the mana curve makes your deck worse. And I've found, and I feel pretty strongly about that. So I go path, then I'll bolt, and then I can Flusterstorm, but they'll just path back. So is that fine? I think I'll just let this go. Flashback Mending. Pass back. Yeah, just play this list. This list is really, really good. I've been crushing with it. I know everybody wants to like put their own little spin on it, but I promise you, I don't think this main deck can get any better. Or like, at least at the moment, I think the main deck is like, I'm so proud of it. I think it's as good as it's gonna get. I think I'm just gonna take this so I can cast more spells on my turn. Consider. I guess I can keep this. I do have another Steam Vince to fetch, right? Let me make sure I've got Flusterstorm up here. Oh, what is this song that's playing? It's so good. Hold on. Wait, they had Prismatic Ending in their hand earlier? Yeah, they needed to board all of these out. Opponent seems to be a little inexperienced in the mirror, maybe. You said I'm gonna wait till I put in DRC. I really feel strongly about DRC not being good. But, you know, also, you guys can just do it, right? You don't need to always tell me about every little change. You guys can just make the changes, and then it'll be fine. Per Rock Amalo, thank you for your 2-month resub. But like, of course, like I've played a lot of DRC and older versions of these decks. Do not put Monkey in this deck. I really think Monkey is terrible in this deck. Like, just like adding cards that don't like work with the overall synergy just makes your deck a lot worse overall. And Monkey is not so good, it just goes in a deck that just, like, Monkey is good in fair decks, you know, backed up by counter spells, discard spells, removal spells. That's where Monkey shines. It's not good in a deck like this. Smoldering Egg is not modern playable. Risen 15 months, thanks, buddy. I love this deck. I love playing this deck so much, but every time I play it, I'm just doomed to just say, like, the same 5 cards are not playable over and over again. It's like I've been sealed by the Reaper Death Seal. I think I just attack. I know I can bring back Phoenix. Maybe I'm playing a bit too conservatively. Okay. 4-1. Losing the Titan, which is a rough matchup. I really thought we were going to win that game 3, though. Which 5 cards? It's DRC, Otherworldly Gaze, Murktide Regent, DRC, Otherworldly Gaze, Murktide Regent, sometimes Oxygonus. Oh, Ragavan's one of them. Ragavan's the 4th. Maybe it's just those 4 are the main ones.